Hello, fellow crafters! Are you ever scrolling through Pinterest and you see something and instantly think, I have to make this? Because that's what happened to me about a week ago when I came across this idea for the scissors pouch made of silk and beaded embroidery. You know, it seemed super labor intensive and completely unnecessary, so of course I had to make it. I started by tracing the basic pattern for the pouch onto some green felt. Then I trimmed away the excess until I had an overall shape I was satisfied with. I did the same with the other side, tracing and further refining the pattern pieces as I worked. Then I carefully laid and traced my two pattern pieces onto a layer of silk shantung I harvested from the sleeve of an old blazer. I also added a layer of muslin underneath the silk fabric as a makeshift stabilizer to support the weight of the embroidery, and stitched the two pieces together using the traced shape as a guide. Then, leaving room for my pattern seam allowance, I sketched out my embroidery design onto some regular paper. I tried this horribly inefficient technique where I pinned my paper pattern onto the fabric and stuck even more pins through all the key points within the design, so I could then tear away the paper and trace between the lines. The whole goal of this was to avoid making any extraneous marks that I would have to wash away later, but I ended up having to wash it anyway, so in retrospect this idea was dumb and I'm dumb for thinking of it. Alrighty, so here you can see how I've mapped out where I want to embroider. Unfortunately, despite all of my careful planning so I wouldn't have to wash anything off, I accidentally corrected the wrong lines here, so I'm probably gonna have to spot wash this. Fingers crossed that doesn't end in tears, but let's get to embroidering. To do all of these lines, I'm going to be using the stem stitch, because that's what it appears to be in the actual diagram, which is kind of this very pretty twisting stitch. Now obviously you're going to want to use a larger-eyed needle that's going to make a slightly bigger hole in this, so that's why it's nice to map this out, because going back will basically, I'll show you here, it makes a much larger dent than the thinner pin would in the same silk. This one, it leaves such a big mark that you really want to make sure you're not having to go back, take out stitches, and put them somewhere else. Or if you do go back and take out stitches, it's going to be covered by something else. So thread your large-eyed needle, and then we're just going to do what I call a butterfly knot. Take it, roll it, and then pull it down. And that'll give you a nice little knot right there. And we're going to start with this bit right here. Pull your needle through. Push it down probably around 1/2 centimeter. And now, since this is the first one, you're just going to want to take this up a little bit, and now you're going to go up another, 1/2 centimeter amount, maybe a little less. Pull that up, and you're going to put your needle back right in the center on that line. And you see that gives you this kind of wrapped effect. Once I stem stitched every other line with my dark green embroidery floss, I could go in with my lighter green and fill in the rest. For my tassel flowers, I used 3 different shades of pink embroidery floss, but you can use whatever shades you like. Carefully insert and secure a safety pin across what will be the eventual top of your flower. Insert your needle through the fabric at the base of your flower and carefully wrap the thread around the bar of the safety pin before reinserting your needle at the flower's base. and repeat several hundred times until you've reached the desired width of your flower, making sure to alternate the color of your floss as you go. Now let's wrap this bad boy up, and I like to do this by basically just going in from the bottom and essentially just kind of whipping around it. I like to kind of line it too. It makes an overall kind of smoother appearance when you actually do kind of go around, and it just feels more secure. I'm also going to go in right here and use my needle and kind of slowly go through each of the kind of bands of thread and kind of just secure it down there. And that'll just make it so that when we do cut this part right here, it'll just be a little bit more secure long term. Then I just kept looping around and around until the base of the flower was completely covered and knotted it in the back. Then you can remove your safety pin, cut all the loops in half, and fluff out your tassel flower. To attach the beading, I made sure to choose a needle that was thin enough that its eye could easily pass through the bead's center. I used a gilt thread to match the bead's color, and I also used the same thread to decorate the space under which the snap button would eventually be installed. Then, with my embroidery complete, I could cut out my patterns. I reused my felt pattern pieces for the pouch's lining in the hopes that the thick material would hold up better against the weight of the scissors as well as the pressure of the snap buttons. I basted 2 layers of silk and felt together before trimming away the excess fabric and securing it all with fray check to prevent any further unraveling. I then hand sewed the 2 panels wrong sides together, flipped them right side out, and voila! My scissors pouch was officially done! And it is definitely worthy of my favorite fabric scissors. There are a couple things I wish I'd done differently, such as changing the felt lining for something stiffer like a layer of buckram covered by twill, which I think would have helped prevent the overall wrinkling you see on the surface of the pouch by holding the silk taut. I would also choose beads that are a decent quality. I got my beads from a kit on Amazon, and while they started out perfectly lovely, you can already see that their gold coating is rubbing off just from minimal handling. But despite that, I'd still call this project a success. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss my latest post. Goodbye!